Good afternoon. I'm Westchester County Executive George Latimer, and we're here at Cranberry Lake Preserve, one of our nature preserves in Westchester County, to sign a bill into law which codifies an executive order that I established on the first day of my tenure as county executive almost 6 months ago. I'm joined by our Commissioner of Parks and Recreation, Kathy O'Connor, our Deputy Commissioner, Peter Tattaglia. We also have Dennis Power, who's the Chief of Staff for the Westchester County Board of Legislators, Peter McCart from my staff, and from the Parks and Recreation Department, we have Jason Klein and Danielle, I'm sorry, I forgot the last name. All of whom are, and she is the curator here at this nature preserve, which is really a lovely setting and symbolic of many of the parks that we have around Westchester County. It's been a tradition, not just in Westchester, but in almost every level of government, that whoever the chief executive officer is, that they put their name on just about everything. That signs when you enter a state or when you enter a particular facility has the name of the chief executive officer. Sometimes they include the head of the legislative body, and we're talking now about signs that are informational, not things that represent a plaque when a major reconstruction has been done and the people who voted for it at that point in time goes on it. We're talking about the everyday things that you see in signage in a government welcome to Westchester County, and in this particular case on our various park facilities. This is one of our 6 nature centers, but we have many, many other park facilities, as we know from some of our recent press conferences. Our public pools that are out there, Playland, County Center, and so forth. And it has always been something that I believe very strongly, that all of these facilities are owned by, in this particular case, the people of Westchester County. They're not owned by the politician of the moment that may have the responsibility as chief executive officer. And I always felt it wasn't becoming to splash the names on it. And individuals have done it for a long period of time. This is not about any one individual having done it more recently or in the past. But I think what we're trying to strive for in this new administration, and I'm very happy that the Board of Legislators agreed by a near unanimous vote, that we want to try to project that we are stewards of the public interest. We are not the rulers of the public. The voters and the residents of Westchester County are not my people or our people. They're the people, and we work for the people. And the people own this park, not the politicians who happen to be in office at the time. So the executive order that I signed, which had effect during my tenure of office, however short or long it is, was to make sure that the names of any elected officials, which primarily means the county executive's name, would not appear on any of this signage. And if you look at this particular signage, and it's the same as you would find if you went to Saxon Woods or Playland or any of our other parks, it's a nice little wooden slat look with different information on each of these things. And the little hooks you see at the bottom of the bottom slat was where a signage would go to identify the name of the county executive in the past. So not that I have no ego at all, but I wanted to make sure on the first day that we took those signs down. I don't know if they went down the first day because January 1st was a public holiday, but I think on January 2nd the order was in effect, and staff all across the county were instructed to take the name down and not to put anything back up again. And then I approached the Board of Legislators, as I have in each of these executive orders, and I invited them to consider whether or not there should be a law. Because executive orders can be overturned. We've seen this in Washington, D.C. and so forth. Whenever there's a changeover in the chief executive, then it can be changed by the will of the next executive. And I felt strongly enough about this back when I was a legislator that I tried to advocate for legislation along these lines. Didn't happen. Deputy Commissioner Ken Jenkins, Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins, was the author of a proposed law when he was in the county legislature to accomplish the same thing. But in this particular case, I think it took the executive initiative to say, I would be the beneficiary of it, and I don't want to be the beneficiary of it. I want to take the names off the signs. So that's what was done by our executive order, and I'm appreciative that the Board of Legislators debated this, had a public hearing, and voted by a vote of 16-1 to eliminate it. We are not alone in doing this. My understanding is Nassau County, my colleague, new County Executive Laura Curran, has done the same thing. Don't know if they passed the law. I believe she did it by executive order as well. And I hope it's the beginning of a trend from the highest level of government to the lowest level of government, that whoever the chief executive officer is, and if there is a legislative person, that we make it clear that these facilities do not belong to the politician in charge. They are the people's, and there's no need to have this extra added promotion for the individual. So with that thought in mind, I have the legislation here that was submitted by the Board of Legislators, and I'm going to sign it into law on this, what day are we today? 20th day of the month of June. Almost the longest day of the year. And that officially makes it law for Westchester County. And I want to thank the Board of Legislators. Dennis Powers here representing the board. Terry Clemens, who was the sponsor of this bill, was unable to be with us today. Her work precludes us being out. Dennis, do you want to share anything on behalf of the Board of Legislators?
Well, just that this is a park that I often walk on, as well as many others throughout the county. The board was extremely supportive and felt that they should fall right into line in terms of working with the county executive on this action. They felt very strongly about it, and as you said, George, the parks are for the people, not for the elected officials, and so they're all here with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. So we'll open it up for any questions from our friends in the press on this particular issue, and then we'll take a break, let the folks behind me get some shade, and then I'll take on any other questions, any other topics. But on this issue, are there any questions that you might have?
Why not websites and written correspondence? I know that's excluded.
Yes. Well, written correspondence, the information usually conveys response back to an individual somewhere in the government, and that person ultimately is hired and reports to me. So having the name of the county executive on letterhead for the county is not an inappropriate thing. But when you interact with a website, you're seeking information from the website, and you can go through the website. By the way, we plan a full redo of the website, and you'll see certain things that are prioritized now will look different when the final product is done. But Mark, I don't think you can deny that when politicians put their names on external signages, people aren't looking for county information. They're just passing by or using the facility. So this is the real abuse. And I think, frankly, we ought to get credit for doing something rather than say, gee, you did this much of it, why don't you do more of it? I think this is a step that no prior executive in Westchester County has done. And so I view this as a positive thing in every context. Yes?
Do you know how many signs there are in Westchester?
Well, Kathy will tell us how many parks there are in Westchester County in round numbers.
Right. We have 50 facilities.
And that's just parks and does that include
Just
schools?
Westchester County
Yes.
Parks. That includes everything we do.
So that's at least 50, and I suspect that all of them had a signage on it. And then there are some other facilities out there. I haven't gone by the sewer treatment plants lately, but there may be signage there. They're supposed to be gone. And by the way, if you do see a sign that hasn't been taken down, let us know. We'll take it down. It's just a function that we didn't catch it in time to make sure it's off the grid. Yeah.
Is this saving taxpayer money in any way?
Well, it will in the future, because whatever money that would have been spent by creating signs that had my name on it, since I'm the new county executive, I don't know what the cost is incrementally of 50 or 75 signs like that. We didn't spend that money. And I don't know if it was budgeted or not, but whatever it is, it's that much savings. And that's the savings that goes forward forever, because future county executives and future any board of legislators, whatever, won't be able to allow for it. So there's some savings in it, and so I guess to some extent that's a plus financially.
Just one last question.
Yes, Mark.
The county center has that digital sign, so it's not a permanent sign, but I do know the name of the executive and legislator scrolls on that. Is that going to be included?
No, you only see it when there's an announcement for someone's day. And if you look at the sign, it's primarily the legislators, by the way. There's very few county executive listing there. In those cases, it is a temporary announcement. It names Mark Lungariello Day. Mark's names are in big capital letters, and it says, by the individual legislator. And that is a temporary notification that happens for that day, then the next day there's something else. There may be a few of them that I do on that sign, but it's limited. It's not a permanent signage, and that's what we were trying to look at, the permanent signage that identifies this is, you're in somebody's backyard. I mean, the classic one that I remember, my first trip to Chicago, everything that I saw had the name of Mayor Daley on it, including the manhole covers on the street. And so that's what we're trying to get at.